Welcome to Fringe Pop 321, the show that believes the world is stranger than we think, but thinking should not be strange. Now, ancient Egypt was home to a number of pharaohs who are well known even today. We have two of them visiting us in our studio. But seriously, you all know Tutankhamun, King Tut. He's arguably the most famous pharaoh in modern culture. But we know of others like Ramses II, Ramses the Great. And because movies like Ten Commandments are so popular and shown every year, Ramses is sort of fixed in our minds as well. Then there's Hatshepsut and Cleopatra. We know them because they were women. Kind of rare in the ancient world to have women of such power. Few people, though, would recognize Amenhotep IV, though. Amenhotep IV was the father of King Tut and reigned circa 1351 to 1334 BC. But neither of those facts is going to ring any bells for you. It's only after you learned that Amenhotep IV changed his name to Akhenaten that you'd understand why we're even talking about him. Now, Akhenaten would become infamous in ancient Egyptian history. Instead of honoring the traditional polytheistic religion of his ancestors, Akhenaten abandoned it in favor of exclusive devotion to the Aten, the sun disk. Akhenaten's devotion to the Aten was so radical that he had the name of other gods chiseled off monuments. Now, some think of him as a monotheist, though that really isn't the best term to describe him. He didn't deny his own deity, for example. But we get the idea. The Aten was his only god. Now, scholars have long wondered about Akhenaten's motivation for all this. Since the Aten that was the object of Akhenaten's devotion was the sun disk, ancient aliens proponents presume Akhenaten saw a UFO, a flying saucer, and was awed into worshiping it. Is that for real? Is that really what happened? Is that really what Akhenaten thought when he thought of the sun disk, the Aten? Well, let's find out. So Akhenaten worshipped the sun disk, but does that really mean he worshipped a flying saucer, an alien spacecraft? There are actually a number of problems with this idea. It's logical, though, to begin with what Akhenaten didn't say about the Aten. So let's start there. Akhenaten wrote a good deal in praise of the Aten. He was pretty much obsessed with it. There are some things we would expect him to say, or at least allude to, if the Aten was indeed an extraterrestrial spacecraft, but which Akhenaten never says in his writings. For instance, the Aten is never said to be occupied by people from another world, aliens. The Aten is never said to have contacted Akhenaten, and the Aten is never said to have journeyed from another object in the sky, like a planet or a star. Now we know what Akhenaten didn't say about the Aten, so what did he say about the sun disk that he worshipped so fervently? When we actually look at his writings, and there's a lot of them, it's clear that Akhenaten knew that the Aten was the sun in the sky. That's all. The attributes of the Aten make it clear that the Aten was the sun, as the Aten does what the sun does in many textual examples. Now, these translations, I'm going to give you a few examples, are by Donald Redford, a leading Akhenaten scholar. Listen to what Akhenaten says about the Aten. The Aten, or the sun disk, is, quote, he who decrees life, the Lord of sunbeams, maker of brightness, unquote. Another quote, all eyes see the beauty until thou settest, in order that work may be accomplished, unquote. A third one, thy beams appear, and all nourishing plants grow in the soil, caused to grow by thy rays, unquote. Thy beams have brightened the earth in its entirety. Every heart is happy at the sight of thee, for thou art risen as their Lord, unquote. Now, all of that is what the sun does, as anyone who's watching this episode knows, with absolute clarity. beams of light, sets in the evening, rises in the morning, causes plants to grow. That's what the sun does. Unfortunately, there are a lot of people who have processed Akhenaten and the Aten through what shows like Ancient Aliens tell you to think, and don't think with clarity. But if you actually look at the ancient Egyptian texts, what Akhenaten himself said about his beloved Aten, it's the sun and nothing more. What all this means is that in all that Akhenaten wrote about his beloved god, the Aten, he makes it plain that he's worshiping the sun itself. Now, his heresy in this was, of course, that he refused to worship Ra, the deity who was thought by all the other Egyptians to ride in the sun every day across the sky. Akhenaten thus rejected one of the most important deities in traditional Egyptian religion, and he dismissed Ra from the picture, choosing to worship the sun disk itself and not Ra. And in so doing, he undermined the power of the Egyptian priesthood, who were rivals to his own power. His zeal for the Aten eventually prompted him to reject all of Egypt's other deities, and of course that means the power of all their priests. So, while Akhenaten deserves the title, the heretic king, he doesn't deserve to be thought of as worshiping an alien spaceship. The Aten was the sun itself, and that's all. Thanks for watching Fringe Pop 321. Please visit our website and you can get excellent peer-reviewed source material for this episode and of course all of the episodes that we do that are topical. If you want to support what we're doing here at Fringe Pop, go to fp321.com/S as in the letter S. And don't forget, come back and watch other episodes because what you know may not be so.